So guys, what this one here is on the test, question 8 on the test, just a basic algebra question, okay? So it says give it the answers in the form a plus or minus b root 2, okay? You notice it's a quadratic equation. However, you aren't going to get normal numbers here. You're going to have to get numbers like a decimal or a surd form, okay? So you enter the minus b formula down, you write it down. You pretty much use this so often that you're assumed that you know it. Okay. Then after that, yeah. Yeah, it's a question. What question is it? 11. Let's go to question 11. I'll sort that out in a second. Sorry about that. Okay, question 11. Sorry about that. Now, what we have here, guys, is what's the a value? A value is 1. B value, C value 23. Okay, minus 23. Sorry. Now we're going to put it in. So minus b is plus 6. So you get 6 plus or minus square root of minus 6 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So 2 times 1. Okay. When you're at that stage, okay, just basically put that part into the calculator only, okay? And when you put that in the calculator, what you get? What is it? 8 root 2? Perfect. Okay. So 6 plus or minus 8 root 2 all over 2. So do here is just enter them in separately, alright? So press the fraction button there. 6 plus 8 root 2 all divided by 2. One of your answers is going to be 3 plus 4 root 2, okay? The other one, just change it to a minus up here, and you get 3 minus 4 root 2. Alright? Okay, so 3 plus 4 root 2, 3 minus 4 root 2. How many's got full marks on that one? Okay. Yes, Jack. Did I give you this one in the test, or did I adjust it? Did I give it to you? This one, alright. Okay, guys. Next part of question 11b. I would have wrote this in myself. It would have been 3 over x minus 2 minus 1 over x equals 5 over 4. You gotta go about solving that. What's the first thing you need to do, James, regards this? Get everything over common denominator. Pick one denominator and look at the other two denominators that it doesn't have. So what do you do once you do that? What do you need to put beside it? So you put a 4 and an x underneath. What you put underneath, you have to also put on top. Otherwise it doesn't balance back out. Now, can anybody explain why do we have to put it on the top and the bottom? You can actually cancel them back out again, and it turns back into the original question. So you're actually not changing the question. Technically speaking, you could just do that, and it reverts back to the original question. Okay, so you're not changing it basically. Okay. Now, what about this one here? The x is looking at what? It looks at the x minus 2 and the 4. So what does it need beside it? 4 and an x minus 2. Which makes that a 4 and an x minus 2. Okay, and what about the number 4? What does it see? It sees the x and it sees the x minus 2. So what should you put top and bottom then? The x and x minus 2, x and x minus 2. What can you do next? Why are you allowed to cancel the bottoms? More specifically, there's an equal sign. You can only cancel denominators when they're the same and there's an equal sign present. It's a solved question. If it's not a solved question, can't be getting rid of those bottoms unless there's something on top it can cancel with. Okay? So we've established that we're going to get 12x. That's going to be minus 4 times x minus 2, which is plus 8, because it'd be minus 4. Minus 1 times the 4 is minus 4. And then minus 4 over minus 2 gets you to plus 8. And then 5x times x. Yeah. 10x, okay. Now, combine the two of them together. What happens when I combine the two of these together? 8x, yeah? I think that's what you're trying to say, right? Now, 0 equals 5x squared minus 10x. What goes over to meet the 10x? The 8x does. And then, what goes over to the 8 will go over the other side, won't it? And when the 8 goes over the other side, it's minus 8. Now, the equal 0 is there. What can I do with that? I can just put it over here and just save myself writing out a complete other line. There's no need for it to be on the left. It can be on the left or the right. It's equality. Doesn't matter what side it goes on. Okay, so that's done. Next thing after that, combine the middle. 5x squared minus 18x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, after that, guys, how do we factorize this? What's the reference number? 5 multiplied by the minus 8. So what's the reference number? Minus 40. Two numbers that will multiply to give you 40, but yet when you add them will give you minus 8 then. Minus 20 and plus 2. What I ask you to do next is I ask you to rewrite it, except you change minus 18 into minus 20x plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, once you've done that, what happens next? Two brackets. What can I take out of the first two? 5x brackets. Okay. What can be guaranteed about the next bracket? It's also x minus 4. And what number goes in here? Plus 2 to make that work. Then at the end? Yeah. Yeah. Equals 6. Yeah. X minus 4 equals 0. After that? Minus 2 over 5. Yeah. And the other one? Okay, x equals 4. That was going for, that goes for 15 marks on the ordinary leaving cert. Yes, Liam? Sorry guys, I divided the 5 down, so good spot there, Liam. Just x on its own as opposed to 5x. Okay, so that was question 11. That was the last question. I skipped, what did I skip by mistake? Okay, about 3 questions apparently. So I'll do 8a now. Sorry about that. Okay, 8a is factorize this. Really quick way of doing it. What's the reference number? Reference number? Minus 30. You multiply it by the 1 that comes in front of the x squared. Still minus 30. Two numbers that will multiply to give you minus 30, but will add to give you plus 7. Plus 10 minus 3. Now you can go straight into the answer on this one, or you can say you could do it, technically speaking, you can do it this way here, but there's no need really. Whoa, made a mistake there, did I? Oh, that's a 30. There we go. And then it's x bracket x plus 10 minus 3 bracket x plus 10, and you can see it turns into the same thing. Okay, if you decide to do the long way, the short way. You can do the short way when it's a plus x squared. The long way is the better way if it's anything other than a 1 at the front. Okay, you solve it. Oh, sorry, I was asked to factorize it. There was no equal 0, so excuse me, there was no equal 0, so that's just the answer. Answer's right there. Okay, next thing after that, what we have is express x in terms of r and s. R bracket x over s equals 1, and the goal of the question is to rearrange it so that x is on its own. Anybody have any suggestions how you might actually start a question like that? Sorry? Bring the R over, okay, that you could start that way. Can anybody else give me another way? It's an S, but yeah, put it all over S or put it all over 5, okay? So, it does either way, I'd say yeah. S, and that's 1 times S, okay? It looks a lot like a 5. Okay, now what we cancel the bottom, and what we get is minus x equals 1s, or just s, or 5 in your cases. Bring over the rs, or the 5r, whichever you want to call it, and you get minus sr. Okay? Multiply both sides by minus, and what we'll get is sr minus s. Is there anything I can factorize out? Whether it's a 5 or an s, what can I factorize out? I can leave it like that if I want, but you could technically factorize out like that as well. 1 minus 1. R minus 1. Yeah, just show them at the end, okay? Yeah, that one's done there now. Okay. Now, next question after that is question part B. Okay, Declan, any idea how to go about doing 8B, which is this part here? Go for it. Perfect. What Declan identified there was that these questions can only be done when the base numbers are the same. So see the way 81 is nowhere near the same as 3. You got to express 81 in terms of 3. How many 3's multiplied by themselves will give you 81? So Declan turned it into 3 to the power 4. Now, as it turns out, there's a button on your calculator that might come in useful at times, right? See this fact button is in yellow. Anytime you press a number such as 81, you can press Shift and you press the fact button, and you get 3 to the power 4, and it'll pretty much do it for you. Okay. So 3 to the power 4. Now this one, it won't do it for you. What square root? What do you memorize that off as? Half. 3 to the power of a half. Okay. Then top minus bottom will get you 4. Take away a half. Yeah. Now I'll obviously 7 over 2, same thing as 3.5. Okay. Now what we're looking at next is sorry, excuse me. 3 to the power of 7 over 2. Okay. What can I do next? Get rid of the 3's, the base numbers. Yeah. Equals 7 over 2. Bring the 2 over to the other side and add it on. 7 over 2 plus 2. 11 over 2 it is. Okay. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. How many people got that one? So, okay. Now, question 9 had a small bit of factorizing in it. Next question after that is factorize fully. So they want you to factorize this. They want to factorize AC minus AD. This is pretty simple. Minus BD plus BC. Actually, no, it's not as easy as I thought it might be now. Any ideas? Cameron? Yeah. Yeah. Alright, if you did minus B, you'd get D minus C. Now, what I see when I'm looking at this, right, I'll show you what I see. That's not done fully, and that's not going to get you full marks just before you react. Okay. Alright, good man. Now, what I would say is, this is the way I see the question compared to what other people might see. What I see is this. I look at what I'm going to take out. I automatically know the A's are going to go. So what I'm looking at is that I'm looking at C being in front of D. I then look at the other side and I go, look, I'm definitely taking out B. But then I go, D is ahead of C this time. I view that as an inconsistency, and I'll fix that before I do any factorizing. So what I'll do is I'll rewrite it as AC minus AD. C leads D, and I'll do the same thing over this side, where C leads D. And all of a sudden, when you do the factorizing, you all know how to do. What happens is they line up properly. C minus D in both brackets. Then you get A plus B into C minus D. Are we right with that? Alright, go for it, Lee. What are you saying? Okay, guys. After that one, we have no, I have 10A. Yes. So in question 10A, I was asked to solve the following inequality. Less than or equal to 18, x element r. What does x element r mean? And real number means every number. Fractions, decimals, negatives, they're all included. It means when you draw the number line, you won't be drawing it in dots, you'll be drawing it in what? Straight line, a shaded in line, because you have to include the fractions and the decimals. So as an example, 0, 1, 2. If I have dots, it means only 1 and 2 is included. Anything between 1 and 2 is not included. But when I shade it in, it means every number that is in between 0 and 2 is included. Okay? So that's what x element r means. If that was an x element z question, you'd be working with dots. If it's x element r, you're working with shaded region. Okay? You break it up into two distinct parts. The first part is minus 2 less than 5x plus 3. And then the second part is 5x plus 3 less than or equal to 18. Okay. What you know about the rules of inequalities? What am I allowed to do? I need to get x on its own, so how am I going to go about doing that? What'd you say? You want to move to 3? So Cameron's going to move to 3. There's about 5 different ways of doing this. Minus 5 is smaller than. Then after that? Now, he's proposing to switch them but not change their sign. Is that right? Okay, if you do change the sign, of what? There's 2 ways of doing it, right? I'll show you both ways, okay? The language, if I say it verbally, it's going to mix you up language-wise, okay? I can do it this way. I can do a complete turnaround, but you know, see the way I turned the sign around? So if I had 7 is bigger than 6, if I turned that around, I could turn that into 6 is smaller than 7. Just by turning it around. See the way I didn't change the 6 into minus 6, and I didn't change that 7 into minus 7. That just didn't happen. Okay? So I'm allowed to do that. Another way of getting the same result would be to do something like this. So I'll finish this off first. X is greater than minus 1. Another way to do that would have been to bring the 5x to the left and change it into minus 5x. Bring the minus 5 to the right, change it to 5. In the case where you bring them across and change the sign, you don't actually have to change the direction. Does that make sense, or do you want me to show you an everyday example where you won't have to do that? I'll show you an everyday example. 6 is bigger than 8 is bigger than 6. Everybody agreed? If I was to bring the 6 over this side, it turns into a minus 6. If I was to bring the 8 over the other side, it turns into a minus 8. Is minus 6 bigger than minus 8? So you notice this time I didn't actually have to change the signs. Does that make sense? So you just have to remember what one are you doing, and when you do it, do I have to flip the sign or do I not have to flip the sign? Whichever way you do it. Okay? Now that that's done, we have x is greater than minus 1, which is here. That's no bother. The second one is the easier one. Bring the 3 over the other side. 5x less than 15. X less than or equal to 5. Now, 3. I did that in my marking scheme as well. 3. Okay. So I get minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Will I shade in the dot for minus 1? Why not? It's a hollow dot if it's bigger than minus 1. If that was bigger than or equal, I'd shade it in. okay, but it's not, so I'm not going to shade it in. And then smaller than, less than or equal to 3, full dot at 3, and there you go. Okay, I know